Anthem family, how you guys doing? It is so good to see you randomly on a Wednesday afternoon. Thank you guys for tuning in live or on the replay. I'm here with our new campus pastor of Anthem Merrillville, Tony Gilmore.
Man, I still love hearing that. So excited to be here, man. Is it Wednesday?
I don't know.
It's been a whirlwind.
Yeah. PT just closed on a house, so congrats.
I am no longer homeless. Thank you, Lord.
He made it.
Thank you.
He made it. So we wanted to hop on a live call. I don't know if you guys heard the news, but Sunday we dropped two really big announcements. One is that we're building Beyond right here in Hammond, Indiana. We're getting ready to build a 23,000 square foot addition right on our current property, which we're ecstatic about. It's awesome. Right at 6947 Holman Avenue. At our current facility, we're going to be building a new addition featuring a 1,000-seat auditorium. We're going to convert the room we're sitting in the stage into kid space, and really excited for that. But along with that, we're not expecting that to be done probably to the end of 2026. And along with that, this was really a big surprise that we've known about for quite some time. We'll have to tell the story of how this happened. But we are also starting Anthem Church number 2 in Merrillville, Indiana.
Let's go.
And can't wait. And I'm so excited. And so I wanted to lay out kind of what this looks like, because this is our first church plan as Anthem Church. And so I wanted to get on here with Pastor Tony and just kind of talk through some of the X's and O's, have you get to meet him. All the information on everything we're going to say is actually at our website, weareanthemchurch.com/beyond, or it's right on our homepage. You can register for the launch team. We already have 17 families, Pastor Tony, ready to go. Excited for that. But PT, why don't you introduce yourself, tell everybody a little bit about you.
Sure. I am from St. Louis. I won't bring up the fact that I'm a Cardinals fan because I know many of you are Cubs fans. Okay, I won't bring that up at all. But from St. Louis, I have probably about, at this point, 25 years in ministry. I know that looks crazy since I look like I'm 19, but about 25 years in ministry, and 16 of those years were spent with Joyce Meyer Ministries, where, 7 of those I was actually the lead pastor of the St. Louis Dream Center. And honestly, for the duration of my ministry, I have felt called to plant a church, but God never opened the door. And I just wanted to follow his leading every single step. And so he kept putting me in these amazing ministries to learn great things, but he had not opened the door for me to launch a church. And so I kind of like, okay, God, this is, what you're doing with my life. And I settled in. But then this door opened, and this is actually a dream come true. And my wife and I are so excited. God called us to this place, and walking, when we ride through Merrillville, it's like home for us. Yeah. We feel connected immediately. As a matter of fact, those of you that live in Merrillville, you know where the M&M beauty salon or beauty shop is. As soon as we walked into that place, my wife was like, this is home. So
I love it. And I guess to that point, we didn't say it again, but we are actually under contract on a building right on Broadway.
Yeah.
And beautiful, the former Byrider used car dealership. We're under contract. We're going to convert that into a new church building right on Broadway Avenue.
Man, it's a great location.
So, Pastor Tony, how long you been married? How many kids do you have?
All right. Let's go.
Add them up.
All right. It's just like I have to keep scoring my fingers. So we've been married. It'll be 20 years. Wow. October 16th this month. My baby, my boo, Angie Gilmore, is the best thing that ever happened to me. Feels like a song is coming on, but I won't sing it. And we have 6 amazing kids that range in age from 34 to 26, and we're a blended family, and God has just done an amazing work in our family. We have 6 beautiful grandchildren, and that's it. And we do have a dog, but that's a whole different story. Yeah, I won't even go into that.
Both our dogs are going up for adoption.
Oh, don't tell Angie
Don't tell
that.
our wives. Yeah, that's so good. 20 years, congrats.
Thank you very much.
A couple people asked me after Sunday, like, did Tony and Ange come from within Anthem, or how do we know each other? It's kind of a long story, but Pastor Tony was actually my boss about 15 years
About
ago.
15, yeah.
At Christian Life Center based in Tinley Park, Illinois, with Pastor Jerry McQuay. Pastor Ben Stewart was the executive pastor, brought in Pastor Tony. I was very honest with my executive pastor at the time. I was like, I do not want to deal with this guy. And he ended up was a great boss, and God led us to different places over the last few years and different things. And so time had passed, and we had kept the conversation going. And true story, I literally called Pastor Drew from Lakeview in Indy, where Tony was working and serving as the executive pastor. This was, I'm trying to think, how long ago was this?
April.
Yeah, April. Yeah, so it was a while back. And I just sensed, I was talking to my wife, Taylor, we just sensed that Tony and Ange were supposed to be at Anthem Church, and start Anthem Merrillville. And God had kind of put Merrillville on our heart for quite some time. Just we felt like it was a city that God was calling us to. I'll get to that in a minute. And so I called, I had been taught kind of the ways of the kingdom. I think sometimes we forget this, that the kingdom operates differently from the world. And so we're called to treat people the way we want to be treated. So I called Pastor Drew. Tony didn't know, and had a conversation, and I was so nervous, Pastor Drew, if you catch the replay. I was so nervous because I got your number, like I emailed you out of the blue. I'd love to talk to you. And literally like, hey, I would like to talk to your executive pastor, who, I knew for a long time. And Pastor Drew, to his, he was so amazing. He's like, yeah, this sounds like the Lord. And so that's kind of how the conversation started. Yeah. And so I literally picked up the phone, called Tony. I'm like, are you in a place where you can sit?
Yeah.
And said, hey, we're starting a new location. We want to know if you and Ange want to come and have you be the campus pastor. What you don't know is how nervous I was, because we're asking you to move to a city when this doesn't exist yet. We had no building. There was nothing there. And we're operating by faith. You're operating by faith. Yeah. And what happened next?
Well, what's crazy is when, you called me after I got up off the floor, after I was like blown away that you were asking. But then we went through the process of talking, and my heart started getting stirred. And I remember having the conversation with Drew shortly thereafter. You all had the convo. Oh, this is an important piece. Y'all need to hear this piece. So we're talking, and we're going through the convo, and then at the end of the conversation, Sam drops, oh, by the way, I talked to Drew already. I'm like,
at the very end.
At the very end, I'm like,
You're
what?
Covered.
But it was such a God thing, because it helped Drew and I process together. He was actually able to help pastor us through the moment. And even though for us this was a huge step of faith, we knew God was in it. Yeah. And that was the thing that had us. Here's our journey. 3 months living with 2 of our kids and 1 of our friends until we closed on our home 2 days ago. That's how much we believe God is in it, and we're excited about what he's going to do.
Yeah, it's so amazing.
Yeah.
And so you guys got sent off at Lakeview 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Yep, August 25th.
Yeah, and I was able to watch a replay. It was such a powerful moment. Lakeview Church family out of Indy sending you guys out, and they believe so much in what God is doing through you guys at Anthem Church Merrillville. They sent you with a $5,000 check.
Yeah, that was crazy, because they celebrated us in such a beautiful way. They honored us, they prayed for us, and then at the end, they're like, we believe so much in what God's having you all do that we're presenting you with this $5,000 check to go towards the seats or the building at Anthem. And we were just floored. But that's kingdom. That's kingdom.
That's kingdom. So thank you guys for sowing, and we're so excited for what God's going to do through that. And so that's how Tony and Angie wound up here. They just closed on their house, as you said. Congratulations. We're getting ready. Some X's and O's with Anthem Merrillville. So we're looking at a launch of spring of 2025, Lord willing, in March. Building a launch team right now. Our prayer is to get 200 people, maybe families even, to join in with the Gilmores to go out to Merrillville, people who maybe live out there that are interested in starting a new kingdom work.
Yeah.
If you're interested in joining the launch team, we would love to have connect with you. Go to our website. All the information is on that Beyond page. And we really want to build up that launch team. Statistically, the question comes up from time to time, why start new churches, why plant, even why multi-site? Well, here's a reality. Statistically, there's a couple stats that really blew us away here. One is we found out that the closer people live to their church, the stronger disciples you make. And we all know this. I mean, it gets old driving 45 minutes, right? Traffic in Northwest Indiana is like driving in the city these days.
Oh, my gosh.
One way in, one way out. And so we wanted to bring Anthem closer to people. To make stronger disciples was one. And that region is the second biggest place we're drawing from outside of Hammond. So we have a lot of people coming from that way. We had circled byways and highways. And then also from day one, we believe we're ascending church. We would rather have 10 churches of 1,000 rather than one church of 10,000 because we don't want people to get lost in the mix. And so we wanted to, have always thought Anthem Church would be multi-site and just felt like God was leading us here. One question that comes up on multi-site is, are we doing satellite? Are we doing satellite, Pastor Tony?
We are not doing satellite. I mean, the beautiful thing about what God has put in Pastor Sam and Taylor's heart is that it will look like and feel like Anthem, but there will be preaching by the pastors that are leading these churches. And I think that is a powerful point to make as you walk through this. Is like, man, these are not going to be walking in, you're looking at a screen the whole time, and it's like, It's like, no, the worship is going to be fully Anthem. Everything's going to be fully Anthem, and even the preaching is going to be fully Anthem, but it's going to have the style of the individual pastor that's leading it.
Yeah, I love it. That was really foundational, I think, to the way we felt like God was leading us. Obviously, with everybody, you know, there's different ways to plant churches, different ways to do multi-site. We just felt like for us here, we wanted to extend the kingdom and build the church through local gifts and people that God was surrounding us with that can do everything live at their location. And I'm saying at their location, our prayer is to actually start 5 churches.
Come on.
In the next 10 years. That's the prayer. I haven't said that publicly. That's the first time. But that's our prayer that in the next 10 years we could start 5 churches in addition to what's in Hammond. And so we're excited to see what the fruit of this is. And can't wait, man.
Man, I can't wait. And listen, if you're out there and you're like, God, I don't know if you want me to be a part of what's happening in Merrillville, I'll tell you this. If you're 51% sure, 51%.
Jonathan said, perhaps this is the Lord.
Perhaps this is the Lord. I would take the step. Take the step. Maybe you're at a place where you're like, I really want to be a part of this. I love what's happening at Hammond. Maybe say, I'll commit to 6 months. I'll commit to 1 year. I want to be a part of helping extend the kingdom of God's work through Hammond in Merrillville. And remember, we are one church in 2 locations. So this is the same, the mosaics, the crews, the worship, everything's going to be the same. So it's going to be like Chick-fil-A. That's what I love about Chick-fil-A.
But open on Sunday.
Whether
I
go, except for, open on Sunday. But if I go to one in, Orland Park, and I go to one in Hammond, it's the same experience. And so that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, so exciting. So, once again, we're going to open this up for questions in just a moment. So if you have any questions, I have YouTube open. I'm going to be taking questions from the YouTube chat. So if you have any questions, it could be anything about what this looks like, how do you get involved, from any questions specific. If you have any questions at all, just feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll try to answer any and all of those in just a minute. Did want to lay out, this actually came from one of our apostolic oversight, Pastor Dave Prince. Love you, sir, as well. We were walking out. He gave me scripture for this, and I kind of told him when we were walking through. He said, this is Amos 3:3 lived out. And I said, what does Amos 3:3 say? Now I have it memorized. But how we're choosing to plant churches here at Anthem Church and locations and campuses is Amos 3:3 says, don't walk with a man until you agree upon the destination.
Ooh.
And so Tony and I had a conversation. We're like, this is where we're going.
Yeah.
This is what we're agreeing upon. And at the highest level, our mission is the same. Why do we exist? To lead people to know Christ and make them known. That is our first agreement. Our second is, how do we behave? How many many of you know Anthem folks? You can type it in the chat if you're with me. We love people. We choose joy and we bleed passion, right? And we're still gonna do those. That's our culture. That's how we behave. What do? We say this internally, but this is the expression externally. We provide a defined discipleship pathway, which is all about knowing Christ, growing in Christ, and making Christ known, and all those things that come along with that. We make Christ known through For the 219. Good news, Merrillville is still 219, so you're going to have For the 219 in Merrillville.
I love it.
And also Cruise, as Tony said, that's how we grow. Mosaic is how we grow, and then Know is through prayer. We're going to have the same prayer gatherings, everything, just in a local expression in the same region.
I love that.
And then also with that, how do we live as disciples? We answer this question from Acts 2, starting at 37, verse 42. We believe disciples, we do daily devos. That's what we're shooting for. We pray. We operate in generous living. We share Jesus, and we're people of koinonia, consistent fellowship, right? And this is what we've agreed upon, and the last agreement is where we're going. This is what we call the Anthem Way, these 5 questions, and we agree on where we're going. And so that's at the highest level. And of course, we agree on Jesus, and you know, that should go without saying.
That should go without saying.
We need to say that these days.
It is important.
Yeah. Tony is saved, and so we're grateful for that. And so that's our agreements. And one more time, Tony is our campus pastor of Anthem Merrillville, coming in, Lord willing, March of 2025. We're building a launch team right now. We're going to be starting some launch team meetings. If you're interested in joining the launch team, we would love to have you. If anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them in. I don't see any questions so far, except people are very excited. I'm seeing some emojis like the love hands, and I'm seeing hearts, and this is exciting, and how we love people, believe passion, choose joy. And so we're so excited. Do you have anything else to add?
You know, you were so clear, though. I mean, what question would you have? You answered all the questions. What I love about our agreement is that our agreement was in place even before you asked me to be on staff. Hey, you know, Sam and we've been friends even after we worked together. And every time he would talk about what Anthem was doing, I would just feel like, oh, I love that. Like when Mosaic started, when you called groups crews, I'm like, I'm feeling that, even though I'm hundreds of miles away. And so when this happened, it was like I was already in agreement before we sat down and talked about it. And I believe that when you come to Hammond or Merrillville, what you're saying is, yes, this is who we are. Yeah.
So exciting. So what do you feel like, this is a loaded question, but what are you most excited about for Anthem Merrillville?
What I'm most excited about is that Anthem Hammond has a community footprint. The mayor loves Hammond. The people of Hammond love Hammond. And you have not only, by the grace of God, built an amazing church, but you have a church that's being the church. Okay. And what I love about what we get to do in Merrillville is we get to mimic what happened in Hammond and Merrillville, being in the schools, doing things to help people, you know, in desperate situations, but also making Christ known in such a way that people can join a defined discipleship path and grow in their faith. Every time I come here and I look at the baptisms, it just blows my mind because it shows that lives are being changed here. And so we want to mimic that in Merrillville.
Oh, it's so exciting. I know I just put this together. Now every second Sunday we're going to be lining up the water baptismals in Merrillville, Hammond. Come on, this is about to go down. I can't wait to see what God is going to do. Well, I'm so grateful for you guys being here. I'm not seeing any questions on the other side of the camera, except let's go. If you guys missed Sunday, is there? Oh, we did get a question. From This Is Why We Need Jesus. That's the handle. This is why we need Jesus.
I like that handle.
That's a good handle. Is there anything that the people could do to support Anthem Merrillville? Yes, great question. There's a couple things we could do to support Anthem Merrillville. First is pray. It would be foolish of us. Number one of my pet peeves, Pastor Tony, is when pastors go into a city and act like they're about to take over the work. All we're doing is coming into a city to link arms with what God's already been doing in the city.
That's it.
We're partnering arms with the pastors that have been faithful there for generations. And so that, first and foremost, I just want to say we're not like coming like we're taking over the town. We're partnering with the city and the churches that are already there doing a phenomenal job. There's great churches in Merrillville. We just feel called to go there.
Yeah.
And so that's first. Secondly, if you guys could be praying for Merrillville, Anthem Merrillville specifically, it would be foolish of us to think we can take new ground for the kingdom without prayer.
Come on.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure this is warfare. This is real. We're taking new ground. We're extending our tent, so to speak. And so if you guys could be praying. Secondly, this is coming in at a cost of about $2 million.
Yeah.
So we're about $1 million to purchase, $1 million to renovate. We're fully renovating the building. We're gutting it. Lord willing, going to be doing a lot of stuff. 391-seat auditorium, big lobby space, brand new kids. It's going to be really secure. Massive parking lot. I'm a little jealous of your parking lot in Merrillville. And so that's a tangible thing. If you want to give towards Anthem Merrillville, you can do that by going to our website, click the Give button, and click Beyond Initiative. We'll make sure we flag it for that. And then also, if you guys are interested in joining, like boots on the ground launch team, right? You want to speak to that? What that looks like?
Yeah, I mean, we know that the more people we have in-house, the more people we'll be able to reach. I said this Sunday that I spoke for the anniversary, that the growth that Anthem Hammond has experienced is because of the people that sit in the seats. And so we know the more people we have as a part of the launch team, the more people we're going to be able to reach, and the more people will be able to reach through the people that we're reaching. And so if it's in your heart, we would love to have you as a part of our launch team.
Yeah, cold hard statistic. Actually, like, the best way to reach new people for Jesus is to plant new life-giving churches, right? And so statistically, what it shows by and large is if we can get 200 people on this launch team, which we believe, we're going to do. Pastor Tony's praying for more. But
I am.
So let's use round numbers, 200.
Yeah.
On opening day, our hope is to start in March with services already at 9 and 11. Yep. 2 services right off the jump. What statistics show is that we would actually see a 2x increase, meaning we would go from 200 to 400.
Yeah.
And we become a church in Merrillville, 400 overnight, just by starting a new life-giving church in the city. So we got to get that launch team up. I think that's mission critical right now. And so that's what we're praying for. Are we able to serve at both churches? Amber Renee just asked. Now, Amber, some people have not asked this question, and so I have not flushed this out with the public team, but let me just say, I would prefer if you only serve at one location. Yeah. And the reason is, I think it's best, one reason we're planting churches is because we believe in the power of the local church.
That's it.
And I think it's important for discipleship to serve with the people that you're with. And so while it pains me to say probably we prefer not to, I mean, come on, we're not going to say no.
Right, we're not going to tell anybody, no, you can't do it.
But we would love if people commit to one location or another. I have heard stories, and I was part of a launch. We started a campus of Christian Life Center back in the day. So seeing this firsthand, some people feel called to start a church and launch and then go back. Yep. Some feel they're going to be there forever. But we would prefer here at Anthem Church that people commit to one local body, even though we're the same church, for discipleship reasons. We believe that's where stronger discipleships are made through that commitment.
It's so true. I think that when you talk about community, that's how community is built. Community is built through consistency, consistent fellowship. And so that's one of those pieces that I think is very important to have in place.
Yeah, and one reason, I haven't said this yet, where this is like the first time we're really talking about church planning. One reason I'm really excited to start another location is God has blessed us. It's interesting. Every prophetic voice we bring in says the same thing about Anthem Church, that we have an unusual amount of leaders here.
Yeah.
And one reason I'm really excited, we're actually multiplying open leadership positions for the kingdom by planting another church. And so what this is going to do is actually free up a bunch of leadership positions in Hammond as well as Merrillville at the same time, which now we're going to see people being raised up even higher in the kingdom through serving in the local church, which we're so excited about. So that's another reason why as well. So we're so excited for that. I see actually your launch team just went from 17 families to 18. Tarnia Lake.
Go.
Can you guys welcome Tarnia Lake to the Anthem Merrillville? Come on.
Welcome.
She says she's in. We coming. She coming. Good job.
Let's
Tarnia.
go.
If anybody has any other responses, I see on the serving, I want to say this too. I believe, I don't know if we should fully get into this. Maybe we'll have to do this again. Is it possible that sometimes people are at church too much?
Okay, so we're pastors saying this.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I think that there can be the burnout effect that happens with people being at church too much. Yeah.
Yeah, so we want to make sure even with that serving, we're not like overcommitting anywhere.
Right.
Because we do believe that God has the right people for the right seats.
That's it.
So we're excited for that. If there's not any other questions, I'm so grateful. We have 39 people on YouTube right now tuning in, checking out Anthem Merrillville. I don't know how many are on Facebook, but thank you so much for joining us even live or on the replay. I know we kind of jumped on here randomly on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
But I don't know about you guys. I am just thrilled for what God is doing through the ministry of Anthem Church. One more time, if you want any further information, go to our website. We are anthemchurch.com/beyond, or just go to our homepage. It's right below the welcome section. Click that. All our building mock-ups are there, like what these are going to look like. Our building in Merrillville, too. I want to say that one more time if you just jumped on. We're under contract for a building in Merrillville. We hope to close on that real soon. So I hope to be dangling keys with Pastor Tony on stage and
that would be fantastic.
Start that renovation project as well. And so we're excited for what God is doing. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Do you have anything else you want to leave the peeps with?
No, I just want to say thank you for your support. Thank you for your love for Anthem Church and for what God's doing in the kingdom. Our best days are ahead of us, and this is going to be a great adventure.
Yes, can't wait to see what God is going to do.
That's it.
So, family, we're going beyond at Anthem Church. We're building beyond right here in Hammond, Indiana. We're sending beyond to Anthem number 2 in Merrillville. We're excited to have the Gilmores here, and we can't wait to see what God is going to do. We're going to be back here tomorrow night for prayer at 6 p.m. back on YouTube. Also, we're back here Sunday morning at 8:30, 10:15, and noon, really pressing into what this looks like for us as a people. So make sure you come out and join us. Those are our English services. And one more time, don't forget we have a Glacier Anthem at 2:30 as well. So grateful for all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a blessed day.
God bless.
And we'll see you real soon.